right, well, I think I'm live. Let's hope so. Welcome to Whiskey Whistle, wise choice in independent whiskey spirit, special whiskey live, talking about Father's Day. What kind of whiskeys are you going to choose for your dad for this coming Father's Day on June 17th, this Sunday? Now, let me just get my control room open. Everybody doing? I can't see your comments just yet. Give me a second here. Hopefully, we'll get a few people. It's what time is it? It's 11. I think 11 o'clock in Winnipeg. Oh, I didn't set the location. Oh well, maybe I can add that in. Now, of course, I'm not quite in Winnipeg yet, but I will be in well, a few weeks anyway. Okay, give me a second here. Now, have you chosen your Father's Day gift yet? Is he a whiskey drinker? What does your dad drink? Let's talk about that for a minute. Come on now. YouTube. Kind of a fickle system I've got here. I'm using the back camera of my iPhone because that's the better camera. And by the way, I don't have the greatest upload capability right now. So, oh, hi Mark. Verify it's you. Protect your account. Done. Okay. All right, here we go. It looks like I had to agree to something with Google here. All right, one more second. Now, being stuck here, I actually have a hard time getting my dad gifts. So usually I get my brother to help out or just jump onto his gift. So this time around, I guess I'll have to do that, but then I'll probably bring my dad something nice this summer as I'm heading there in a couple of weeks, as I said. Okay, almost there. Bear with me here. Okay. All right, I think I'm in. Okay, it says the stream status is good. Great, glad to hear that. I've got 5 people watching, it seems, so that's a good start, especially because this was pretty much impromptu. I did not give any notice, except about 10 minutes notice to a few people on Instagram and on the Facebook page for Whiskey Whistle. If you haven't liked that, go ahead and like that on Facebook. Let's open up the chat. And we have Louis Okoa. Great, he's joined. Thank you for joining. And he said, just what I needed, a Whiskey Tuber live stream. Well, I'm glad that I can fill the void if there's a void tonight. In fact, I didn't check with my other whiskey tubing friends to see if anybody was streaming right now. So if they are, well, I'm afraid I'm overlapping. Sorry about that. Anyway, so thanks for joining in. Thanks for chatting. And there's apparently 5 other people watching. So if you're watching, why not leave a little comment and tell me what you're thinking about getting for your dad for Father's Day. And Louis, how's the volume? Is my volume okay? I've got my air conditioner running because it's a little bit hot here in Seoul. So I just have to, otherwise I'll just start sweating in about 10 minutes. Oh, and I forgot my lights again. Give me 1 second to turn the lights on. Oh, man. Here we go. 1 and 2. There. That should be better. A little bit better. Okay. I think I'm really screwing things. Mark. 1 minute, please. Okay, the angle looks good. Sorry about that. This is kind of a sudden thing I wanted to do. In fact, there's a really funny story about this, so we'll talk about that in a second. In fact, I actually thought that Father's Day was last weekend. So I'm actually quite the time and the wherewithal to get this little live done. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, hopefully the lighting looks a little bit better now. I really hope. Okay. All right, and yes, Louis says the volume is okay. Glad to hear it. Just okay, or is it loud enough? Should I talk louder? Let me know. Okay, that's good so far. And There, perfect. All right, well now I'm set up, and I've got about another 45 minutes to carry on this live. So hopefully we'll see a few friends join in. And anyway, I'm 5 minutes in, and we've got 5 people watching, so great, good to hear that. All right, so Father's Day. Now, is your father a whiskey drinker? My dad is. In fact, he had been a cognac drinker for the longest time, well, and a beer drinker. With a meal, typically, I would say about 3 days a week. Even now, even though he is the spry age of how old is he now? He'll be 71 this summer. He has a beer with dinner, as I said, about 3 times a week. And then he'll have maybe a cocktail or a liqueur, probably the same number of nights a week, maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. Since I really started on my whiskey journey, I guess that was around 2010, both my mom and my dad have become very interested in drinking whiskey. We have very similar palates. They both really love Glenmorangie, and they keep a bottle of Glenmorangie Original on hand. And if they travel somewhere, they'll pick up a bottle of one of the extra matured Glenmorangie. And we have Dramdude. Hey, Dramdude, thanks for joining. We're talking about Father's Day. What are you thinking of for gifts? If you are getting a gift, I don't know how old you are. I think you're probably not much older or younger than me, so I'm guessing that you've got a dad that you're thinking about getting a gift for. So does he drink whiskey? Anyway, so my parents will be very, very excited when we share this summer, sharing that one with them. So that'll be kind of like a not really a gift because it'll be past Father's Day, but it'll be a little event that I'll have with my parents in Glenmorangie, the Spios. Looking forward to that. Has anyone tried that, Spios? I hear the jury is mixed on that one. And okay, Dramdude, you're 28. And I've got a couple ideas that I want to talk about with everybody. So, I mean, the first thing, of course, is just to head down to your local liquor store. In Winnipeg, that is called Liquor Marts. And, look at the big wall of whiskey and pick something out, whether that's a single malt or a blended scotch, or whether it's a Canadian whiskey or a rye or a bourbon. Those are your choices. Now, there's also a few Japanese whiskeys in Winnipeg, but not too many. In fact, you will not see Yamazaki, but that would make a great gift. Even the NAS, I highly recommend that one. If you're in USA and you see that one and it's a decent price, that would be a nice gift for Dad to try. Anyway, we'll talk about this slowly and surely here. Now, blended Scotch whiskey. Let's say you're on probably the most simplest choice would be something like Johnny Walker Black Label. You can get it everywhere. It's very, very drinkable. And I think even the single malt drinker who maybe has never actually tried oil, because there's lots of them out there, they might be surprised with the quality and the flavor of Black Label. And you can look in your dad's liquor cabinet. What has he got in there? If you see a lot of single malts that say Isla on there, I-S-L-A-Y, and maybe open them up and give them a smell. If it smells smoky, that's a hint to you that your dad prefers smoky whiskey. And even for blends, there's a few choices, like for example, the Johnny Walker Double Black. That's a little bit smoky and would appeal to the Isla single malt fan. Anyway, so that's worth a try. I really do like that. And we have Robert. Hello, welcome again, Robert. Good to see you. I'm glad that we seem to be on the right time over here anyway in Seoul and you in Japan to have you join in the lives. Robert, does your father drink whiskey? Is he still with us? I think you're roughly about the same age as me. You might have a year or two on me, I wonder. I'm 43 now, by the way. Anyway. I'm doing a live stream right now. Anyway, I've got a couple hours off of work, so I came home to do this. Now, this is an odd choice that you might not be able to find if you are in Canada or if you're in USA, but that's Loch Lomond. And Loch Lomond is, well, a huge distillery. I think I just turned red, I think. Anyway, my wife came in. Anyway, so this one is a blended Scotch whiskey. So that's a blend of single malt and also grain whiskey. But the interesting thing with this one is that this may actually be a single distillery blend, or it might only have maybe 2 or 3 different distilleries blended together. Because Loch Lomond actually does, they do single malt in the same place. And then they also own Glen Scotia Distillery. So this actually could be a blend of just 3, possibly. But a very interesting basic single malt, something that I quite like. And maybe I'll just pour myself a little bit. It's been a long time. I haven't reviewed this one yet. And look at that, I'm nearly through the bottle. Anyway, all right, I'll pick this one here. And okay, so, well, yeah, you got a couple years on me, Robert. All right, here we go. A little bit of Loch Lomond for my lunch. Don't tell my boss. She could be watching. Who knows? That's okay, because I won't be there much longer. All right, so that's Loch Lomond. All right, so anyway, classy whiskey, not too dark. Very little color is added, and they use what they call, what do they say, recharred, heavily charred. Oh yeah, married in recharred oak casks. So they make a point of saying that it's been married in casks, and that is quite different because a lot of whiskeys actually will in a big wooden, like a big vat. Anyway, so married in recharred oak casks. It's very, very, very potent on the nose. This to the Japanese whiskey lover, just because of the strength of that that oak. Anybody tried that? And we have Bill from the Whiskey Dictionary, the Whiskey Dick. He's here to say hello. Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. You feel free to stay for a while or to hang out. Oh, you say you're heading out to bed. Okay, well, good night to you. Thanks for joining. Does your dad drink, Bill? I wonder. Now, a lot of people complain about whiskey that's 40%. But you know what? Oh, he does. Good. So we're going to get him some whiskey for Father's Day. There are some single malts and also some blends that actually do really, really, really well at 40%, and this is one of them. Oh, you got him into whiskey, and now you share. Well, that's good. So did I. Well, cheers to you. Looks like we both succeeded. All right, so that's the Loch Lomond. And I think I paid about 50,000 won here in Seoul, South Korea, which is pretty good considering it's Korea where prices are actually usually much higher, especially for unusual brands. I would guess that's going to be about $30 US, maybe a little bit less. Anyway, I know Ralph, the YouTube channel, he just reviewed the Loch Lomond 12-year-old single malt. And boy, I'd like to try that one. I've tried their single grain, which very interestingly is made from malted barley only. So that's a mind bender. But don't forget though that single grain whiskey doesn't just mean that it's made from a different grain. It means it's made from any grain, including malted barley. The other stipulation, though, is that uh, it is distilled in a column still. In fact, I wonder, do you have to distill it in a column still to call it a blended, to call it a single grain? Um, Probably, I think that's one of the stipulations. But anyway, so a column still, much like bourbon, and from any grain. So in this case, for the single grain, I should say, not this one, for the single grain from Loch Lomond, one of the single grains anyway. They use just the malted barley, so very interesting, and it's amazing, very, very good. So if you find a Loch Lomond, I highly recommend that one. That would be a very interesting one to share with Dad. And let's get serious. You give your dad a gift of whiskey. If he lives in the vicinity where you are, well, you'll be sharing that together. So it's kind of a gift for both of you. So anyway, there's a thought. Another very interesting blended Scotch whiskey for the budget, the son or daughter on a budget to get for Dad is something like the famous Grouse. And this one is Mellow Gold. What's special about this one? Matured in sherry and bourbon casks to create a smooth and more mellow whiskey. So a little bit more sherry than the standard Grouse. And I hear Naked Grouse is amazing. I haven't had that yet. I think I'll throw that in the standard classic whiskey rocks glass. There we go. Now, we've got a few people saying some great things here. So let's see. Oh, well, Bill says he's given him some good stuff so far. Have I got a recommendation? Well, you're in a better market than I am for shopping, but if he's open to any number of distilleries, I would probably recommend something like, for example, the Tober. That would probably be about 100 to 120 US, I'd imagine, if you can find it. They recently closed for a period of time for renovations, so I think there's been a little bit of a halt on the side of distribution, halting, like somewhat anyway. I recently had Deanston, 18-year-old. That's from the same company, different distillery, also highly recommended. And what else? Edradour is a great one, but it's kind of hard to find older Edradour if it's not the single cask. But a single cask might be a very nice thing to get for Dad. Anyway, onward and upwards here. Robert from Japan. He's saying, well, he lives in Japan. He's from Quebec. He says he's drinking a Glenfiddich highball now. Well, I'm really glad to know that. How do you make your highball? I just do whiskey plus ice plus club soda. That's it. Some people like a little bit of lemon or a little bit of lime. What about you? And hedonism. Yes, hedonism is a blended, and not that expensive in USA and the UK. A little bit pricey here and also in Canada. A little bit out of my league. And Eric Waite, he's just joined in. He's one of YouTubers and very knowledgeable in wine. In fact, I believe he's a sommelier. And he says grain whiskeys tend to be cheaper, and continuous column still distillation is cheaper. Right. Column still isn't required. See, now I'm not sure. You'd have to check the Scotch whiskey definition of single grain. Lots of sherry in there, and I can tell you there's lots and lots of Highland Park in here. Yeah, it's like drinking Highland Park with a few dashes of Macallan and then some grain whiskey. I'm not tasting much Glenrothes in there, but that seems to be what I'm getting. And then I guess they use, what's the home distillery there? Glen Tuckers, is it? They've got a mouse. That mouse. What's that mouse? What's the mouse's name called? Anyway, the home of famous grouse. Can someone tell me where that is again? I've forgotten. Anyway, and Monkey Shoulder, right? Great whiskey at a great price. Excellent stuff. And We have Chris from Santa Cruz joining. Chris, how are you? A big cheers to you. I'll give you a double cheers. Chris is a patron. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you so much for all of your excellent help. If you're interested in becoming a patron of WhiskyWhistle, get onto Patreon, patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. And just $1 a month will get you the newsletter and also some early access to the WhiskyWhistle videos. So check that out. Oh, ad-free, I should say. Check that out. And there's more to come. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. And yeah, thanks so much, Chris. I'm doing great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. All right, so more taste of this one was what was it? This was Loch Lomond. All right, Eric's going to London. That'll be very exciting. Now, if you have a choice between Loch Lomond and Famous Grouse, hard choice, but I'd probably go for the Loch Lomond just because it's different and really, really flavorful, even as a blended Scotch whiskey. All right, so that's the lower end. Should I add a couple more? We'll add a couple more. Let's say that you are on a business trip and you have. This is a very, very nice choice for someone who ends up in Japan and is going home for the weekend, and you'll see your father for Father's Day. That's the Chivas Regal Mizunara oak finish, I guess. Now, what does it say here? Inspired by Japan, Chivas Regal Mizunara is a unique signature blend crafted by master blenders Colin Scott from a hand selection of malt and grain whiskeys. In honor of the Japanese art of whiskey making, Mizunara, a rare and exclusive oak from Japan, has been used to marry some of this exclusive blend. And quite a lot, I'd say, because it really does come off as a blended Scotch whiskey, but also as a Japanese whiskey in a sense. That unique wood essence. Anyway, very nice stuff. Have a little bit of that. And right off the bat, you get something that is very similar to Japanese whiskey. This, by the way, is 12 years old. So it has an age statement on there somewhere. I think, yes, aged for 12 years it says. So it's not an NAS, and it's a great price. This would be a fantastic gift for Dad, and something that can be a nice bridge between going from Scotch whiskey into something from Japan. When you first drink that, and I think my wife's heading for lunch somewhere. Hopefully I'm not interrupting her preparations. Okay, so that is the basic end, and a few other things. The younger viewers, if you're watching and you're, let's say you're 18, 19, 20, you're a college student, what to get for Dad, go to a good liquor store and get your dad a few minis. For example, like this Glendronach Twift. Get a couple, put it in a basket, add some chocolate, maybe a couple of mixers like club soda, and make your dad a little whiskey basket. That'd be a great idea, and probably would cost you less than, say, $10, $20 can probably get the job done if you're in USA. 20 to 30 in Canada, I'd say. Anyway, there's an idea. And for those of you watching who have an extensive collection of whiskey at home where you are, then another thing you can do for Dad is something DIY. Make your dad a nice little collection of your whiskeys. Let's say a 50 milliliter sample, or maybe 100 milliliter sample of different whiskeys. Put them together again in a basket. Make it fancy. Throw in a pair of socks or something funny like that, and I'm sure your dad would love to try your whiskeys. In the privacy of his own home. So throw in an Aberlour Abana. Throw in something like Johnny Walker, the red rye finish, and you'd be good to go. And it wouldn't cost you a cent. At least not up front. Anyway, so there's an idea. Eric, yeah, I only have 3 what is it called? 3 megabits per second of upload. So yes, there could be a lot of. I apologize. That's the best I can do here. Um, no, my connection's not very good, so I do apologize. All right, now then. So that's the I guess the less expensive ideas for Father's Day. I'd love to hear yours. Now, I've also thought about whiskey glasses. That's another idea. And you don't even have to be of legal drinking age to get your dad some glasses for whiskey. You can get some branded ones. You can get some nice rocks glasses. And if your dad's kind of a fancy pants, well, then go for something like a Copita glass. That could be very, very welcome, a very welcome gift. Or take a Copita glass and throw in your sample, and there's the gift. Perfect gift, and this would be, again, probably about $20 out the door to do something like that for Dad. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, anyway, any other thoughts here? Okay, well, we heard from Eric that his father has passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, well, no other comments there. Night, Eric, thanks for joining. Okay, so let's get on to go to the middle level. What can we do at the middle level? Well, for blended Scotch whiskey, this is highly recommended for me, and that is Johnny Walker 21-year-old XR. That's about $100 US at duty free. So of course, not everybody will have access to that. I think you can get that in the UK as well through Master of Malt and those such websites. Anyway, so Johnny Walker XR, very interesting. It's a little bit grain rich, so it's got a lot of 21-year-olds single grain added in there. But it still has quite a bit of single malt content from a variety of the corners of Scotland, and well worth it for both the single malt drinker and also for the blended Scotch drinker. That could be a very welcome gift. And other middle of the road type of gifts. Let's see here. Glendronach we talked about already. I've got the Heelan, which has become, I guess, fairly popular of late. As an interesting whiskey image. Maybe I should use the Ben Riet. There we go. I'll use the Ben Riet glass. Keep it in company, right? Anyway, very interesting whiskey, this one. A little bit of bourbon. And Neteru is saying, hi, good morning from Hungary. Well, thanks for joining. Neteru, we're talking about Father's Day. I guess it's probably a different day. I think also in England and Australia and so on and so forth. All right, so that's the Glendronach, the Heelan, and I think that would probably be about $40 US, and I think I've seen it around about the $70 mark in Canada. Lots of sherry, but still a little bit of bourbon too, and a very nice blend. You get some coconuts along with that the typical raisin kind of a content, raisin scent, I should say. Oh, it's just so potent though. So if you look in your dad's cupboard and you see Glendronach or Macallan, let's say, that could be a very nice choice for Father's Day. The Heelan from Glendronach, very nice. Big long finish. 8 years old, and boy, it's fully mature. Oh, nice. Check the time, 1:26. Okay, so I've got about another 20 minutes left here. I'll keep going till about 1:45 here. See, the prices here in Seoul are atrocious. They're terrible. There's a few exceptions, but see. Well, going up to the top end for Dad for Father's Day, Glenmorangie, that's a faux pas, Glenmorangie Signet. That's an interesting choice. And if you can get that at the duty-free price, I would not recommend getting that at regular retail, especially if you're in Canada. Here in Korea, that's about 350,000 won, full retail. Meanwhile, if you get it at duty-free here in Seoul, you can get it for as low as 115 US dollars. With a bit of a sale, let's say there's a 20% sale, and then you get like a $10 off coupon from one of those duty-free shops. They all offer a special membership card and get a little discount. So $115 is what I paid for this one, in fact. Anyway, this is a absolute buy. I would say that anybody who likes single malt whiskey, even if you like blended Scotch whiskey or Japanese, this is a great gift for yourself and for your dad for sure. If you can afford to spend over $100 for a gift on Dad, anyway. And oh yeah, Canada also, right? So here, so the prices in Seoul are terrible. Canada also, generally speaking, pretty terrible, with some exceptions. For example, Alberta prices are okay, and there's a few brands that seem to have good prices, even in Manitoba, also in Ontario. Occasionally get some good prices, and sometimes some sales. And Robert's saying that that's the only reason why the reason why he buys only Canadian whiskey when he goes to Canada, and that's pretty smart. Of course, there's some exceptions. I found a bottle of Fetter Cairn in Winnipeg, the Fetter Cairn Fior, which I really liked. Wish I could get more, but it came and went within a couple of weeks. I think they had maybe I don't know, a couple or two. They came and went, and I'm glad I got my hands on at least one of them. I was going to get two, decided on only one. I should have gotten two. Oh well. All right, some other interesting gifts. Let's say, again, at that upper end would be something like Ardbeg Ugadal. And I apologize if my pronunciation is terrible, but Ardbeg Ugadal is a great choice for someone who likes the smoky. Yeah, I've got my Highland Park empty glass, so I'll use that one. Get into a bit of Ardbeg. Ardbeg. Some people say Ardbeg. A little bit of extra sherry in that one. What else does it say here? Oh, real ex-sherry casks. Pardon me. And, right, Robert's talking about Kudaram and Wart's 21-year-old. Is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got the 17-year-old from last year. Is there a 21-year-old out now? And lot 40, right? Cask strength. You got that one. Good job on that. I failed to impart to my father how important that was to get, and the ball on it. So missed out. Oh well. Oh, 17. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's the 3 grain, I think. Heading out, honey? Yeah, you look great. She's going out for lunch. With whom? Who are you meeting? All right. Oh. And Paul Rice. Paul, welcome. I'm not sure if I've seen you in my my lives before. He says he scored an Anok 22 for $70 US in California. That is an incredible buy. Good job on that one. Cheers. All right, so, all right, Robert, he says, bye, honey. Yes, bye, honey. That's funny. Anyway, this is the Ardbeg Ugadal, and if you notice that your father has, let's say, some Lagavulin or some Lafroig or perhaps a Talisker in his cupboard, he might like to try that Ardbeg Ugadal. Again, now I think I've been told this is natural in color, although it doesn't say so on this box or on the bottle. But it is unchill filtered, and it's 54%. So basically cask strength. And this is my first heavily peaty whiskey that I ever tried. And it blew me away along with my friends. We were here in this house and playing a board game together. I think Bart's not here from Scotch Test Dummies, but he's a board game fan. We were playing a board game and we tried this one. I think the jeans would be better with that. And Moon's here. Moon Lee, hello, welcome, thanks for joining. A big cheers to you. You're also a very big help to WhiskyWhistle, both here on the channel and also in the Cacao Talk group. So if anyone here is a Cacao Talk user, you can find a WhiskyWhistle chat room in there. Just search for WhiskyWhistle and you'll find that. All right. At the same time as you get the smoky peatiness, you get some nice sherry scents coming through there. So it kind of takes the edge off of that raw peat, that burnt rubber sort of smell. Perfect, honey. It looks great. Yeah. I wish I was going with you. No comment. All right. Anyway, so yeah, it takes a bit of the edge off of the burnt rubber, bonfire, burnt bacon kind of a scent, and adds a little bit of something luscious to it. And I'm gonna go with white, the white shoes. Oh yeah, you know what? I have the coffee here. Why didn't I drink that? It's cold by now. This is Whiskey and a Beard. He's saying good morning. You drink whiskey, I drink coffee. Well, I'll have a bit of coffee with you. All right, so cheers to your coffee. Whiskey and a Beard, don't do that. 12 o'clock is when civilized people begin imbibing. That's a funny question. So, what is the earliest time of day you've ever had a dram? I'd love to hear that story. I'll tell you a quick story. Before I came to Korea, I would have never ever had a drink before noon. And if it was noon, that would have been a weekend. So during the week, 5 o'clock would have been about the earliest time that I would have a beer. Or if there was a special event at work, then I might have a beer at lunch with my workmates on a Friday. But you come to Korea, and here the culture is different. This is a very different culture entirely, and not only in terms of your everyday culture, your the way you live, the way you think, but also the drinking culture is very different and much more ingrained into everyday culture. So gatherings in Korea almost always include some liquor, and meeting friends at night always involves soju, most usually, except for some of the population who are, let's say, Protestant Christians. I can think of the word Christian. So there's some Protestant Christians who abstain altogether, but the Catholics don't. And actually, I'm Catholic. Not that we should get into religion, but anyway, so I'm Catholic, and so is my wife and my children. Anyway, so Catholics here also are really enjoy drinking together. Anyway, so I was on a trip with my parents-in-law. My wife was in Canada, I was here, and I went on a day trip with my mother and my father-in-law out to an island called Jebu-do on the west coast of Korea. We went to catch fish, interestingly, with our bare hands. Anyway, on the bus, it was a bus full of people from the Catholic Church, and we left at about 7 o'clock in the morning, very early for me. And on the bus, my father-in-law and his friends I heard, there's this cracking sound. It's like the sound of cracking open a mini. So that sound, that cracking sound, I heard the in front, my father-in-law in the back, I think 1 seat or 2 seat behind me, and I felt this tap on my shoulder, and a paper cup thrust beside me, and Maku, Hanjane, Mark, let's have a one shot together. And my first response was, 죄송해요, 전 오전에 술을 안 마셔. Minutes go by, and another tap on the shoulder, and Mark, 한잔 해야지. Mark, come on, you have to have a drink with us. And I tried to refuse it. All right, are we still here? Someone tell me if this is still going on. I've been telling a story for the last few minutes. It looks like it's been gone. Okay, it's back. Glad to hear that. All right, so this quick story. So then, finally, on that bus, 7 o'clock in the morning, after 3 times refusing, my father-in-law and his friends requested yet again for me to join them in a glass of soju. So finally, I just what happened here? I don't know what happened. For rejoining, I don't know what's going on here. I can't see my camera, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, thanks for coming back. Hopefully people are still joining. We have Whiskey Throttle in the house. Thanks for joining. Anyway, so then my father-in-law finally, for the 3rd time, thrust the glass in front of my face, and I finally accepted at 7 o'clock in the morning to drink some heavy, hard soju. Anyway, so my earliest. How about you? What's the earliest time of day you've had a drink before? Oh, I love how this Ugudal kind of... Have I lost some people? Probably have. We have 9 people watching now. It says my stream is bad. Okay, well, I'm only going for a few more minutes here, so let me just check the camera one more time. Oh, what time do fish wake up? That's funny. Okay, well, looks like things are okay here. Well, I can't wait to upgrade my my hardware and hopefully have some better lives for you with timely and no lag and better quality. So let's hope soon. Oh yeah, so that's a great one. All right, and some other good choices for Father's Day. Again, go into your father's cabinet or just ask him what kind of whiskey he likes. If he likes sherry, let's say like Macallan. So here's a couple of good options. Nadura Oloroso Matured. And also from the Macallan, Classic Cut. So basically like cask strength Macallan. Pretty nice. It is not, let's see, it's not entirely European oak, but I think it's pretty nice stuff. Whew. And great. Robert says his father-in-law was pleased with the Tobermory you gave him. Did you give him the Tobermory 10 or 15? All right, so here's some other options. Hard bag. And have, I'm almost, we've got about a minute left here. Oh my. Well, I think I'll go for another 5 minutes and then wrap things up. This is Kilchoman Loch Gorm. Loch Gorm. And this is also sherry matured. Try a bit of that. This is 46%. There we go. Just a little bit, because I can't have too much. I have to go back to work, actually. And Whiskey Throttle, he says he's in a pub. He can't hear very much. Sorry to hear that. I'll try to speak up a little bit. All right, so this is Kilchoman Loch Gorm. Lesser known, but rather new, very, very popular. So that's a bit of a I think I'm mixing up my language here. So not that well known for, let's say, the regular whiskey drinkers, but very popular amongst crazy whiskey nuts like me. Anyway, something somewhat similar to Ubudal, not exactly the same, not quite as heavy a peat. Also a little bit younger, I think, but you know, it does very, very well for the age that it is. And this is 2009 to 2017, so 7 to 8 years old. And this just in, Old Pulteney 17, so that'll be coming back with me to Canada. This has won some awards and quite famous, but unfortunately they've discontinued it. So if you do see one, either for yourself or for Dad, get that one and stock it away. And even if you bought your dad a gift already, grab one if you've got a little extra cash and put it away for next year. So Old Pulteney 17, and another distillery that I love, but also not that easy to get because of. I don't think it's because of the size of the distillery, but rather just because of the distribution, is Ben Romach. This is an older one. You can't get that one, but if you see a Ben Romach, let's say, for example, the what's the standard one? The 10-year-old, delicious whiskey, a little bit of peat, and very, very lovely flavors that you get from that one. And the 10-year-old, okay, so Robert got the Tobermory 10 for his dad, and he loved it. Yeah, I'm going to go back to work at 2 o'clock. In fact, I've got my bike here, so hopefully I'll be able to ride my bike straight. All right, now I've got something else to announce. In a couple of days' time, that'll be Thursday morning, early morning here in Asia. But 7 p.m. Wednesday, this Wednesday, 7 p.m. in UK, so London time, 7 p.m. I guess about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on in Winnipeg. This is from Steve Rush through his company called what is it called? Whiskey Wire. This is from Gordon and MacPhail. And I'm so pleased that that I was able to receive this. Right, the Whiskey Wire. So there's a tweet tasting. So you can just search Gordon and MacPhail in Twitter. And look at this great set that I got. Beautiful, huh? Daniel Brown, wow, thanks for joining. So glad you're here. So this is from Gordon MacPhail, straight from the distillery. And Wednesday, again, 7 p.m. UK time, I'll be joining the Whiskey Wire, the tweet tasting, featuring these very interesting whiskeys from Gordon and MacPhail. We have Milton Duff, 10-year-old, so that's a new one from Gordon and MacPhail from their Discovery collection, it's called. And Tormore, so excited because I've never had a Tormore before. And Ball Blair. Now I've had 1 or 2 Ball Blair and excited to have another one, and well, an indie Ball Blair at that, so that's great. And lastly, Kulila, 13-year-old. So that'll be I think my second or third Kulila. No, my third. I think my third or fourth Kulila on the show. So that'll be good. So what I'll do is I'll review these and record the review, and then I'll be tweeting along that night. So I'll do the recordings, and then I'll leave a little bit in the bottle so I can actually do real live Twitter tweet tasting with the real whiskey in the glass. Anyway, so come and join me on Twitter, WhiskyWhistle. That's Wednesday, 7 p.m. London time. And we're 149. Oh, the ABVs are, pardon me, Oh yeah, they're all 43%. So the same as the traditional Gordon and MacPhail, the Linkwood, and the Mortlach, for example, 43%. And I believe they're natural in color. And Reb is saying that Tomor 12 was a very, he said was very, very bland. Well, let's hope this one is not bland. All right, so finish off that, what was that? That was the Kilchoman. Cheers, everybody. All right, now a few extra comments have come in. Daniel has joined. Reb, Mordecai. Reb, a big cheers to you. I'll give you a cheers with, not that one, with, nope. We'll go with Loch Lomond. I'll give you a Loch Lomond cheers. Cheers to you, Reb. And Daniel says, Mortlach for life. Yeah, Mortlach. Amazing distillery. Wish they would maybe change the... Yes, more lag. Are we back? Can you hear me now? And Robert says, oui. Good. All right. Well, I have to wrap this up because I have to get back to work actually in about 8 minutes. I've got a big mess to clean up, so I have to hurry here. Thanks so much for joining. And he said, what did he say? I thought the spinning circle was Mark's head after all that whiskey. Yeah, right. Okay, a final cheers here. What was this one? I forget now. Oh, this was the Mizunara Oak. Okay, so that's the Chivas Regal Mizunara Oak. Very, very, very nice Chivas Regal. I would say it's an upgrade from the regular one. Anyway, cheers, everybody. Robert, I hope you get lots of this and bring it home for your friends. That's a really nice one. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. This was my Father's Day live here on Whiskey Whistle. Hopefully, gave you some good ideas. Wasn't quite as organized as I had thought in my head, but I think we hit all the bases. I was missing a Canadian whiskey. I think I better show that off right now. Now, the current one is different. That's Wiser's. This is Wiser's very old, the 18. This is an excellent choice and not all that much money, especially considering it's 18. So at least half or less the price of 18-year-old Scotch whiskey. And boy, what great whiskey that is. This will be my finest dram. Here we go. Final dram of the live here, everybody. Wiser's 18. Of course, it's got a little bit of peat in there. But anyway, cheers, everybody. So rich. Beautiful, beautiful whiskey. And Robert is saying Santé. So Santé, mon ami. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. I better sign off here. Father's Day, get your father some nice whiskey, especially ones that you can enjoy as well with him. That's the best way to give a Father's Day